pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to thank everybody for coming in person and those joining us online. First order on the agenda would be the approval of minutes.
I would so move. Second that.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented in the September 19th meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of the bills. Everybody's got a list of bills in their packets. They're extra on our desk.
And I have a few late. We're being billed our percentage fee from Tyler so that we can get moving with that. And that's $29,900 and 2 bills from ABI to move forward with all the audio and visual.
So we need separate motion for that, Candy, or that part of the general?
You can include it if you want.
I'll move to approve the bills, including the 2 items that you just talked about. That's just to move forward with that, correct, Candy?
And then I have, the last one is the subscription fee for the CAD or the Central Square. It's $16,000.
Which was already in the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll add that also.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to go ahead and approve paying the bills. Roll call, please.
Otis,
Aye.
Wilhelmie,
Aye.
Volk,
Aye.
Gessner,
Aye.
Brett.
Aye. Motion passes. Financial reports. Anything stand out to anybody on the financial reports? Candy, was there anything that you wanted to highlight or bring our attention to?
No, I just have to work on transferring again.
Anybody have any questions on the financials?
I'll move to approve the financial reports.
Moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second to go ahead and approve the financial reports as submitted. Roll call, please.
Volk,
Aye.
Otis,
Aye.
Wilhelmie,
Aye.
Gessner,
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Financials are approved. Treasurer's checks.
I'll move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to go ahead and approve the treasurer's checks. Roll call, please.
Gessner,
Aye.
Otis,
Aye.
Volk,
Aye.
Wilhelmie,
Aye.
Brett.
Aye. Treasurer's checks are approved. Approval of the agenda. Anything to add on the agenda?
Jeff, did you want to add that road stuff?
It's on there. I think Highway 2 corridor project under unfinished business. On the,
I have the wrong one up.
yep,
Okay,
it came out late yesterday afternoon, so.
I just brought the wrong one.
Yep. Anything else on the agenda? Any additions?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second to go ahead and approve the agenda. As presented, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. National 4-H Week. Welcome to all the smiling faces in our crowd. So it's a big week here in Ramsey County. We did the proclamation at our last meeting declaring National 4-H Week and recognizing all the hard work and of the volunteers and all the kids that participate in not only Ramsey County but nationwide. So Lindsay, Sarah,
Yes, I have, before we move
Yes.
to 4-H week, I have one request.
yep,
Lake Region Extension Roundup is January 3rd and January 4th, 2024. And I was wondering if we can make sure we open the door between the memorial building and the courthouse, as well as the basement door on the south end to have access to the meeting room and the historical room for use.
something that we've done in the past to accommodate that, make it a little easier accessibility for everybody, so they're not having to walk through one entrance and a little laxing on our security for a couple days, so we'd, do that in a form of a motion.
I was moved.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to go ahead and, allow the doors to be open during the extension roundup. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Doors will be open.
Thank you.
Lindsay.
Thank you. Right. So yes, we do have some members of our 4-H, Ramsey County 4-H here. Some of our older members, but we also have the rest of our office here who's not normally here for meetings, but we have Tricia Berg. She's our administrative assistant, and that works very well with our 4-H program. And then Cindy Olson, our 4-H program assistant. So I'd like to invite Cindy to introduce our members, and then they want to share a little piece of their 4-H experience with you. And I hear we have treats today, so exciting.
Fantastic.
So let's start with Matea. Matea is a 10-year member, and she's going to give a little rundown on her experiences at 4-H.
Hi, I'm Nicole Nelson. I am part of the Ramsey Riders, and this year I get to represent North Dakota 4-H at the National 4-H Congress in Atlanta, Georgia. It is held there around the 24th through the 28th of November, and there we are going to have community projects, national breakdown projects, and we also get to tour Atlanta, and there's also many 4-Hers from all 50 states and even Puerto Rico.
Thank you, Matea. Adam Sobolek, he is with the Bird Busters, and he's also on shotgun teams he'll tell you about.
Yeah, my name's Adam Sowick. I've been in 4-H for 9 years, and this past summer I went with the Ramsey County team to the 4-H state shotgun shoot. And at that shoot, they send the top 4 individual shooters to represent North Dakota in Grand Island, Nebraska this coming summer. And I and 2 of my teammates on the Ramsey County team made it, and then we also have a 4th teammate, Braden Smith from Hettinger, and my 2 teammates are Rebecca Morstead and Madison Noki, and I'm pretty excited to go shoot some shotgun.
And then we will go to Savannah LeBrun. We're saving the sweetest for last.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Savannah LeBrun. I'm a 10-year member in the 4-H program. I'm also a North Dakota State 4-H ambassador. To become an ambassador, last November, the weekend before Thanksgiving, I had to go through a selection process along with Matea. During that process, we had to do team building exercises, different problem solving exercises, informal interviews, and formal interviews. And then we also had to complete a formal application process along with an essay. During my time as ambassador, I've learned a lot, and I now hold an executive position during my first year. I am co-chair of the EYC program, which means that I get to help plan the workshops for our Extension Youth Conference that we hold every June. And I also get to help with finding a keynote speaker, which we are working on right now. And we also get to do the tours on campus that we hold every year, as well as multiple other different things. And then also as my time as an ambassador, I worked at the state fair this past summer. I got to go the Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday before the state fair opened to help with our static events and put together all of the amazing exhibits that we had this year. We helped judge and place ribbons on everything. And then I also got to do some photography for the livestock shows.
Thanks, Savannah. And Lauren Stiven will give us a little.
Hi, I'm Lauren Stiven. I've been involved in 4-H for 7 years now, and some of the things I do is compete in static events, compete in Project Expo and Communication Arts, as well as not only compete in air rifle, but I also help coach. Some of the static events I do is baking, and I have gone to the state fair for that and represented Ramsey County very well there.
I'm extremely proud of these four. Obviously, they have been around, I've been around since they were very little, and the maturity and the growth that I've seen in them in 4-H is just overwhelming. And I would like to thank them all for coming, and I think Lauren is gonna demonstrate her baking abilities. She made some treats, and some of these things she's taken to state fair and gotten grand champion on, so we know that you are going to be treated well. Thank you for having us.
And if we could we get a picture of our 4-Hers here with the
Yeah.
commission?
Yeah. If you wanna come back.
Before or
here
after the
and-
meeting, I don't know.
Me right now. Oh, sure, you're good in there. Before we hand out treats, Lauren, you wanna come on up and gather around, we'll get pictures? How about your staff, Sarah? You and your staff wanna get in?
Well,
Do one picture there.
it's
Such a good picture, yeah.
I know, you guys look good.
They did such a good job.
Well, I'm really proud of this group, this organization, and the young men and women that are representing Ramsey County and the state of North Dakota, and the 4-H ambassadors and the National Shotgun. Adam, congratulations. Enjoy that experience. That is gonna be fun.
Okay, let's take a couple minutes and then we'll pass some treats out and we'll be out of your hair.
I'll let you know that they have that baked at my house on Sunday. And literally all day.
But we also want you to know he had nothing to do with it, so they're good.
Yeah.
He just said, you know that. So here is lemon blueberry bread, and then there's also some lemon blueberry scones and white chocolate raspberry as well.
So much for my diet today. This would be a cheat day.
I did get to try a corner of one of these, that's all.
What would you like to scone? I'm almost tired.
It's really good.
You want it?
Lemon blueberry or white chocolate raspberry? Yeah. There's lemon blueberry or white chocolate raspberry. Okay.
Does anybody else want a treat?
And Cindy was telling us that almost 500 people went through the 4-H breakfast Sunday morning to kick off 4-H week. So big crowd, very good. Thank you for all the volunteers that made that happen. And appreciate everybody that showed up for it.
Yeah,
So,
we want to thank you all for supporting 4-H, and we
absolutely.
got a lot of fun coming up this year.
This is the easiest thing to support.
We'll leave you to it.
If you could just send me the names of the ambassadors, I'll mention that on coffee time tomorrow with everyone. So,
Yeah, it's not very often we get two ambassadors in
and no,
a county.
it's a really, really big deal. So,
It is a big deal.
yeah, so very proud of those two young ladies.
Thank you.
Fantastic,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Yeah. Mr. Mo
Yes.
is up next for the GIS IT. You wanna go through the ESRI conference first?
Yeah, I guess. Just a little recap of what I got from the conference in San Diego. Do you have any questions? Anything? More than happy to answer them.
It seems like a very worthwhile, beneficial conference. I saw the news in the Association of Counties news release that their GIS coordinator from the NDACO went as well and talked about it and the benefits that attending that conference. It seems like a long ways to go, but they always, that's where their headquarters is at, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very close by.
Yeah, so 18,000 participants, some darn crazy number like that.
Yeah, I had no idea
Yeah,
that she was even there.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure. But glad you found it worthwhile and educational.
Yes.
So we can go into the server quote.
Yes. I guess this is after getting, I guess, the Tyler technology stuff figured in. We needed a bigger server than originally planned. And I know it's still 95% grant funded, but like it was originally gonna be between the server and some new, updating the networking in the building, but now it's all going towards the server and would reapply again for the networking for next year. So I guess I'm just looking for approval to purchase this server for $38,940. And like I said, it's 95% grant funded. So we only have to. But this should cover all of the extra for the server, or for the Tyler stuff and all of the, and backup and everything else, that it'll be very good for several years.
With this software, hardware upgrades, is there any on-site? Are they coming here? Are they just gonna call you over a video screen and plug this wire here, type this button there?
This does not,
there.
yeah, this does not include them coming here and hooking it up or doing anything here, but we will have a contractor come and help do some of it. He's working on Trail County right now, so he'll have an idea on how the transition goes by learning from them. But most of it can be done remotely where it's more efficient for them just to do it from Fargo or Bismarck versus coming here. And
Do you think that's adequate?
I do.
Okay.
When do you think this will be up and functional?
It should be by the end of the year, definitely. I guess the sooner we get it approved and we get on the list to, and I guess I don't know exactly when Tyler Technology can get on board, but the sooner we get everything going, it'll be ready for them whenever they have time for us.
So essentially, it's just gonna, doing the figuring 95% cost, or just 5, it's $1,947, which is our share.
So, yeah, and we've got a total of 40,000 for the grant, so, there'll be additional purchase of some backup, battery backup to complete so it'll be roughly 2,000 for us probably. Yeah.
Any other questions for Steve on the purchase of a new server from High Point Network Solutions? Is that what that company is, Steve?
Yes.
I see Joe Kramer's name is still associated with that. He's been around a long time.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's the one he's the contractor working for Trail County that
Okay.
will help us. And yeah, so this is a very similar thing with what he's done with Trail County.
Okay.
So for a motion, you have to.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we purchase the larger server sooner than later.
Okay.
I would second that.
We have a motion and a second to go ahead with the purchase of the newer server. Any discussion, questions?
I got one other question. So this server will tie into like the stuff that we're purchasing later on here? Or have to do maybe purchase with candy stuff?
Yeah, that's,
I mean, it'll be large enough to withstand all of it.
yeah, they wanted separate servers. Okay, this server holds multiple virtual servers that basically each component gets its own server, so it's all separate and
Thanks.
then nothing is affecting the others and nobody can blame the other for screwing up their server. It's all focused on one function.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay. Any other discussion, questions on the purchase of the new server? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Opposed without coughing, and motion carries. All right, I think we have a few minutes before we get into the district health budget hearing. So we could maybe jump ahead to Maddie Cummings.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I do apologize for the volume with which I will be speaking today. Please let me know if you need to repeat anything. Very quickly, we have been doing some re-evaluation of numbers and working closely with the city administrator, and have made the decision to address some capital improvements first, namely things like the HVAC system. We are pretty sorely in need of some new paint on the interior of the library and others, kind of projects like that. So we are going to push our opening of the full-time children's librarian position to 2025. And so with that, I would like to just officially reduce our ask. For 2024, we had asked for all 4 mills, which is what we're capped at under Century Code. And we won't need that this year, because we're focusing on those building things instead. So I wanted to just reduce that ask from 4 to 3.25 mils for 2024, and not try to screw anything up anywhere down the line, but hopefully that this will just alleviate some pressure on everybody's head and gives us a chance to better plan and be ready for this full-time children's position. So I would welcome any questions anybody have.
Any questions for Maddie?
That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And
Not the ins and outs.
I appreciate you coming forward and
Absolutely.
with your budget reduction. It's always greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Cluten, got 5 minutes? Will that work for you?
We can try, I think it might be a little longer than 5 minutes, but.
Okay. Oh, the miscellaneous stuff down at the bottom, the approval of the lodging rate increase, pretty simple, straightforward. This is through Office of Budget and Management, OMB down at the state, increasing from 88.20 to 96.30, effective October 1st. Need a motion to go ahead and approve.
Move to approve that from 88.20 to 96.30.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to go ahead and follow the state's guidelines for lodging rate increase. Further discussion?
Question.
Yep.
Has there ever been a time when we didn't follow that? I'm not saying we should, I don't mean it that way, but.
No. And normally, if it's something that, if you're traveling and hotel doesn't, county reimburses up to that state rate.
Yeah.
And the rest would be, I guess, without prior approval, would be on your time.
Yeah, but what I was asking, has there ever been a time when we didn't follow the state guideline or state mileage? I know, I used to work for the state and I know how it worked, I just was curious.
I don't ever recall a time that we didn't.
Then we got a question, the gas is going up, isn't it? Well,
We try to make it easier for the employees.
oh, I understand it.
And a lot of hotels now are not honoring.
I'm surprised you can get it at 96.30.
Yeah.
So, further discussion, questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. North Dakota State Fair delegate. Every year we send somebody to the State Fair meeting down in Minot, usually is where they have them. Sometimes they rotate it down to Bismarck, but usually at the State Fair location. It's in November. I think this year is on the 16th. We can either choose to send a commissioner who has the fair on their portfolio, or in the past, we've delegated that to somebody else within the community that's either on the fair board or has an interest in the fair. Last year, we sent Elizabeth Black, who's a representative on the Ramsey County Fair Board, also highly involved in fair activities. So, Commissioner Gessner, are you the fair representative? Yeah. Would you like to attend that?
I would, but, I wouldn't be able to, so
Okay,
I would.
nominate
I
Beth.
would nominate Beth, she's pretty good at that, so.
Okay. And she did indicate that she would be interested in going again if they so choose. So a motion to go ahead and have us sign that, appointing Beth as our Ramsey County delegate.
So I'll make that motion.
Okay. Second,
Second.
Motion and a second to go ahead and approve Elizabeth Black as our representative for North Dakota State Fair delegate.
Was it 2024 then? How was that work?
It'll be 23. They meet November.
Oh.
I think it's the 16th is.
Yeah, I seen it was
Yeah.
22 last year.
Yeah, they had I think they had a wrong date in their letter.
Okay.
I sent a revised.
They sent a revised.
November 15th of 23.
Okay.
And
That's the only reason I asked.
yeah. So maybe we should double check with Beth because I gave her the 16th because that was what was on the letter. So, but anyway, we have a motion and a second to go ahead and select or nominate Elizabeth Black as our Ramsey County Fair delegate. Further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I think it's also really, Jeff, to note that Connie Hansen, who is also on the Fair Board, serves as a state Fair Board member and representing Ramsey and the state.
Okay. Duly noted. We'll adjourn our regular Ramsey County meeting and open up the public hearing for the Lake Region District Health budget hearing. I do believe we have to go on speakerphone, is that correct?
Yes.
So we're running about 30 seconds late, so hopefully
That's all. Administrative code. Should have been on that.
It's that number that's on the bottom. Different code share.
That's what I read.
It's a different code, yeah. It's not on the paperwork though. I don't have it memorized. I can run upstairs.
3455-3.
That's a 10B.
Sorry.
Please bear with us on our technology as we try to get the other counties included in the budget hearing for the Lake Region District Health.
I did know that. What was our number?
And he handed out some sheets there.
Which is. So the original one I emailed out, a couple weeks ago, I didn't realize, Ashley and I went through it, and I didn't realize that the numbers didn't carry over on the spreadsheet like they were supposed to, so the red ones are, it wasn't balanced at the bottom, so.
Sherry was going to get the new number, okay.
90421.
Thank you, Sharon.
The conference administrator has joined the conference. There are 4 attendees on the conference call. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Jeff Frith, Ramsey County Chairman, calling the meeting of the Lake Region District Health Unit budget hearing to order.
Hello.
Hello. I guess the first item on the agenda would be to the election of a chairman for the budget hearing. Anybody have a nomination for the chairman for the budget hearing?
I nominate Jeff Frith.
Who's that?
Who's speaking?
Who made the motion?
Dave Gertz.
Okay. Dave Gertz, Eddy County made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Wayne Volk, Ramsey County seconded the motion. Any further nominations? Okay, sorry we weren't able to hear you. Barely, but. You're a little better? Oh. So any further nominations for chairman?
I move nomination cease and we cast an unanimous ballot for Jeff Frith.
Okay,
Dave Gertz.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So next item on the agenda would be roll call of counties. We'll do individual counties. If you could please list off your members, and we will start with Benson County.
We have all our commissioners present. Doris is by phone, Italy, the corner, down, Sammy, Davidson, all present.
Okay. Eddy County,
All commissioners present, Jamie Elmers, Dave Kurtz, Linda Collier.
okay. Pierce County,
Pierce County, all board members present, Mike Christensen, Joe Moll, Dave Hickler, Dave Bernard, Terry Halford.
okay. And Ramsey County, we have, all our commissioners are present. Myself, Jeff Frith, Blaine Volk, Bill Hodis, Lee Gessner, and Paul Wilhelming. So with that, we'd have a approval of the minutes from the 22 meeting. Any additions or corrections to the 2022 meeting minutes?
I move to approve Terry Halford, Ramsey, Pierce County.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second. Doris Griffin, Benson County.
Okay, we have a couple seconds, Lee Gessner and Doris Griffin. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. And we'll go into the 2024 budget. I'll turn things over to Mr. Heisler. Denton, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. First, I want to apologize. I hope everybody got the updated, budget with the corrections. It wasn't like the numbers were changed, as they didn't carry over from one page to the next. As far, the first one didn't balance, but it is the same as has been addressed with the commission's previous in the preliminary hearings. Does anybody have any questions on anything?
First off, can everybody hear Mr. Heisler on the conference call?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay. Everybody received the revised budget?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Heisler? If not, do we have a motion to approve the budget as submitted?
I move to approve the budget as submitted.
We have a motion from Commissioner Gessner, Ramsey County, to approve the budget as submitted. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Volk from Ramsey County seconded that motion. Any further discussion on the budget for the 2024 budget season for Lake Region District Health Unit?
Call for the question.
Okay, question's been called. Do a roll call vote on this, I would imagine.
Yes. Yes,
Yep,
it does.
okay. Sherry, do you have that list for us?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
We'll start with Eddy County, Jamie Elmaris.
That's not Eddie County. Who is
Eddy County, Jamie Elmaris.
it? Yes.
Glenda Collier.
Yes.
Dave Gertz.
Yes.
Then Benson County, David Davidson.
Yes.
Dick Horner.
Yes.
Doris Griffin.
Yes.
Ron Statham.
Oh.
What was that?
Yes.
Tammy Cook.
Did Ron say yes too?
Was Ron Saturn a yes or a no?
No.
A no.
No.
Okay,
Pierce County, David Migler.
Dave said yes.
okay,
Terry Hoffert.
Yes.
Mike Christensen.
Yeah.
Dave Bernards. Joe Bowl. Then Ramsey County, Bill Hodis.
Yes.
Blaine Vogt.
Yes.
Jeff Pritt.
yes,
Lee Gessner.
Yes.
Paul Wilhelming.
Yes.
budget has been approved. That would conclude the 2024 budget hearing for Lake Region District Health Unit. Unless anybody has any comments, we would motion to adjourn the meeting. Okay,
Second.
we have motion and second to go ahead and close the hearing for the 2024 budget hearing for the Lake Region District Health Unit. Thank you all for attending. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we'll go back into regular session of the Ramsey County Commission. Now we can go up to Mr. Cluten, Devils Lake Public Schools Superintendent, welcome.
Thank you. I've got a couple of handouts here for you guys. You want to take one? I first want to thank you guys for giving me some time. I know this is the second time that we've taken your time proposing your assistance or help towards this ag building. When I became BLPS superintendent on day one, August 1st, I kind of heard about this project, and when I investigated at that time, I had found out that the county had pledged some dollars. We reached out to Candy, and it was kind of taken off the table because of how long it took. We have gone to the state. We've got a $1.2 million grant that's kind of sitting on the table for us to match local funds for another 1.2 to build this ag building. And when I took over without those county funds, we had basically secured $0. So I kind of made it high priority to find out how much time I had before we lost the money, and we're definitely down to crunch time. When I talked to CTE State Director Wade Sick, they're ready to take our $1.2 million back and distribute to other grant recipients. So I made this a high priority. I wouldn't say this is the biggest priority within our district for facilities, but because of the timeline, I put my foot on the gas pedal and tried to do as much as I can in order to make this happen, because we don't want to see our district lose out on $1.2 million. So this is basically Mr. Baki's original application with just some modifications and changes that I threw in with my name and information. The only change that I've really proposed to this project, and you can see that in that small brochure, is that it was originally planned to be built on the northwest corner of our CTE building. And throughout the year last year, I think Mr. Baki dealing with health issues as well as the referendum that was failed, this kind of was pushed to a back burner. And when I went in, and now that the referendum has failed to build that middle school between the CTE building and the high school, I thought it might be better for us to propose building this in between. We can start bridging that gap that we've heard so much about as far as kids walking out of doors in the cold, going from one class to another. If we build this on the northeast side, as proposed in that drawing, we're at least starting to bridge the gap. And then we could create an entryway. That little corridor on the very south end would be an entry door and kids to enter in. So we would probably take off a good 150 to 200 feet of them walking all the way over to that main building or main door on the south side. Please know that the county is not the only place that I'm coming to. I'm working with Brad Barth to go to local companies. We're looking for local donors. We're looking to get to 1.2 million as quickly as we can to make sure that we secure these funds. But I, spoke with Candy about the possibility of there still being funds available, and she said that potentially there would be. So that's why I'm back here today. And I would entertain any questions if you guys have them. One more thing that I'll throw in. As a new superintendent, when I tour our stuff and I see and get used to this area and how much of a farming community it is, I feel like we're doing our students a disservice by not having an ag program. I think that, we have farmers in the area that are having to go overseas for help, and we could be, offering an ag program to 540 students. It's not just about children in ag, it's about other kids maybe finding out that I really enjoy this and I want to go into the ag field so that we don't have to go elsewhere for our workforce. Not to mention the fact that the college has that precision ag building that we're not supplying kids to. So I think that we've demonstrated a need here, and I would love if we could put the county down to be a supporter in this.
Mr. Cluten, what's your timeline?
When I talked to Mr. Sick in early August, I asked him if I could have 2 months to try to raise $1.2 million, and his response to me was, I'll think about it. He has not pulled our money. We're working real fast. It took me some time to meet with architects and really wrap my brain around this and come up with a new sketch. But I have already met with the LIA, and I have Brad's working on a meeting with implement dealerships in the very near future, but I'm shooting to have funds secured real close to that August 31st deadline. That's a tall task. I'm sorry, October 31st. I apologize.
So less than a month, you got to fill that big need.
Correct.
Does the school have any carry over, COVID dollars?
We do have some money that's carried over. I know that the school board has discussed prioritizing those for new boiler at Central Middle School and potentially some upgrades and that, but, you know, if there was a gap in there, we could potentially go to the school board and ask them for that gap as well.
Have you got any other contributions from anyone else?
So no, DLYA said we need to come back to them, at the end of this so that they could, hopefully fill in whatever we need in the end after we had some other contributors. Busy time for them to get together right now. I think a lot of them are in the field. So they asked me to come back after I had spoke with the county and spoke with other corporate and gotten some sponsorships on board. So I've got a pretty solid meeting.
What was the original ask for the park? I know the budget you did, right? I mean, at one point, that had been approved, but because of the federal money not being there, it wasn't. So this would be part of the balance then, that there is zero balance on the ARPA money that hasn't been, what's that?
We've only written one check, so.
But hasn't it all been committed to?
That's what I'm asking for, it's what's committed and there was something that wasn't committed.
Right. Well, that was the other part of the million split between entities and county. Shit.
Certainly think it's a worthy and noble cause. I was a beneficiary of the VOAG program at Devils Lake High School, and it served me well over the last 40 years of my adult life. So when it went away, I was sad. I do agree that it's something that our community desperately needs. So.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So if this was to happen, right?
Yeah.
They'd be able to dual credit through this, right?
We haven't offered dual credit at my previous school, but it really depends on the college. We haven't, I know that,
I'm just saying to try to piggyback off of what we already have. So if they were to come in here and get the basics, and they can move on to the dual credit side,
yes.
you know, to maybe speed the process up if you know, it's a 2-year program to get that.
Yeah.
And let's say they were to do this high school thing and they do this, I don't know what Doug would have, that person would have to talk to them, but let's say you knock off 6 months.
Yeah.
You know,
President Darling was one of the first people to reach out to me and just said, we want to work with you in any way.
okay.
We haven't talked specifics about that, but I would certainly be interested in looking at a way that we could provide those upperclassmen with a jump start into the career.
Kind of like everything else.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
anytime you can speed that process up, I think, my personal opinion, I think on the boat tech side, we're behind the curve a little bit.
I agree. And I think,
And in society right now, we're behind the curve. You know, so if it's something that they gain 6 months going into the college and you can finish your degree, you know, I would really like to piggyback off of that one. You know,
yes, absolutely. Yep, and I have a history of doing that. We started dual credit welding where I was previously at. We had some dual credit offerings on the edge side. We did a lot of dual credit in auto and diesel as well, a diesel program that I added at my previous school. So I don't see any roadblocks to us being able to provide that with Dr. Darling.
Yeah, having a lot of family members that are in the ag sector, I like the idea of getting something going and maybe even possibly getting an FFA program going again.
Yes, absolutely. I think those leadership opportunities, especially in that ag sector, are so important. You know, where I came from, I continue to say that, but in Washington, we were a school of about 360 kids, and we had the second largest FFA program in the state. So that's something that we hung our hat on, is getting kids into that program and, you know, providing leadership opportunities for them, and I think that's missing. I would be curious, for those of you that know more history, when did we stop our rec program? I haven't been able to get a solid answer.
Early 90s.
I wanna say
Maybe mid-90s,
it might have even been before that.
because Dr. Peterson, he was the last ag teacher, wasn't he?
And did he have health problems or did he fill in?
Yeah, that's kind of what it.
Yeah, kinda went
He
away.
had it, I think he had it on the upward bound, and then he had a heart attack or something.
I think it was early 90s.
And it never, he had to go out, I mean, they were doing a lot of, genetic stuff with plants and stuff, I believe.
Sure.
But after he passed away, I don't know if they didn't try to fill it for budget reasons or.
Another question, I'm sure, you know, like that here, do you think we'll have trouble filling the egg side?
Yeah, that's a good question, because we actually looked at this past year at maybe when we were looking for a new auto instructor. We said, well, we could use the auto classroom as an ag building and try to reconfigure if we needed to, if we couldn't fill that. So we actually opened up the position to both auto and ag instructors, and they were not available. And I went through that at Washington as well, that we had to go to the private sector and talk somebody into coming and teaching ag. However, there are 13 fresh graduates going out, which is a good number. It does not meet the needs of our entire state as far as ag instructors, but I'm being told that there are solid numbers that are coming behind it as well. So I feel better about that. I also think that Devil's Lake is attractive, especially in the ag community, for an instructor to come, you know, and teach here, and to that number of kids to draw on, to me would be very attractive. So I think that we would be in pretty good shape to draw. But as far as predicting that, for sure, no. But I think we're in better position than we were last year.
Number candy.
Not a balanced total, no. I'm gonna have to go back and look at everything. But it is in here in the original, you know. But down here, he's only got. We dedicated $1 million, so.
I think when that federal funding took a nap, going forward with that money that was gonna be available to the state for this program, I think the county backed off and reallocated that money elsewhere. So we're gonna have to maybe do some figuring and see if we can't find something.
Okay.
And so I know that doesn't answer your question today.
Oh, that's fine.
But you certainly have our support as a commission, and we will do and help with whatever needs that we can.
Sure.
And whether it be knocking on doors ourselves for you, we'd be happy to do that, I think.
Okay.
Because I think we all have a strong belief in the ag sector in our community, and see what a benefit that would be for that organization.
Would you like me to come back to the next meeting or just wait here?
We could have you come back to when do we meet again, the 19th?
That would be good.
18th?
Yeah, we'd still be fine.
I agree with Jeff, I think, speaking for everybody here, I think we were definitely
17th,
in
Mr.
support of it. I think we were in support of it prior also, it was just the way the funding got put on hold.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
I understand.
So,
Okay, so the 17th.
17th.
Okay, that sounds great.
We'll meet 5:30 that evening, so we'll get you on the agenda and we'll sharpen our pencils and see if we can come up with some funds for ourselves. And certainly, if you need any help knocking on doors, we can knock on doors or knock on heads.
I think by the 19th, you're gonna have some obligations from other houses.
I'm hopeful, yes.
We'll know where we're sitting at that time also.
That sounds great. Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you for your time.
Kevin,
Morning,
how are you?
good, yourself?
Good.
Okay, to start off with our, projects, the one we got left is that new bridge. We did get a new schedule for that project, and it looks like they're gonna be, closing it soon, like today or tomorrow. And, it'll be closed at least until the 14th. Depending on how quick the pavers can get there. Well, I don't have much else to add about that bridge, I'm not, Paul's kinda doing that for us, so. Well, all I know about that.
He sent out the
Yeah.
timelines.
Oh, you're
Pretty detailed, it was pretty detailed.
With the map location and closings and all that. So wondering if that's something that you want Steve to put on the county website, so people have a way to access where that detour could possibly be. We should also mention that and get word to dispatch on, and that road being closed and short reroute. So any responders heading that way would not be going, oh crap. So,
Yeah, we can submit this to the media.
yeah,
I don't know if there's been a detour set up, but
Paul did indicate that there'd be signs, plenty of road signs letting people know where to go,
right.
so.
Okay, any more questions about that? Okay, Gowan Construction has delivered, our chips for our next year's chip seal project. And the invoices didn't keep up with the material, but we do have some of the invoices and they total up to $27,746.72. So I'm looking for a motion to pay for those invoices that we've received already.
This was part of the budget.
Oh, yeah, I think I had like 56,000 in budget for chips for next year.
I'll go with the $27,746.72.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go ahead and pay the Gowan Construction for the chip seal for next year. Invoice is $27,746.72. We paying that, or?
Yep.
Roll call, please.
Otis?
Aye.
Wilhelmie?
Aye.
Gessner?
Aye.
Volk?
Aye.
Brett?
Aye. Motion passes.
And some of you are familiar with, we have a project program sheet for our federal dollars. I don't think they've come out yet, so I haven't received it, Candy hasn't received it, so normally they would want our signature on that before the commissioners convention, which starts Sunday. So I guess we're just gonna have to deal with that when we get it. I don't know how that's gonna work this year, but.
So they haven't sent out a project worksheet?
So what that means is we don't know how many federal dollars we actually have to spend.
Right.
I mean, we got a really, really good guess, but that thing always told you the exact number,
So do you have an idea when they're wanna meet with you and the commission down there?
Yeah, they did set a time.
Monday?
Yeah.
10:45.
Yeah. Anybody that's at the convention will be in the brochure also, what time it is, so.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll have it there. I mean, generally we make changes to it, like add our upcoming projects to it, because they haven't been added yet.
Right.
So, guess guess we'll just play that one by ear, see what happens. I mean, it's part of our budgeting process too, because that tells us how many federal dollars we have. To move on, I guess, the railroad crossing safety improvements, in the past, we put in for the crossing over by Bartlett and the crossing north of the rest area. They do not have the flashing lights and the arms that come down. We've always been turned on because the sight distance is fairly good at both those locations. So I'm just curious if we want to keep putting in for them or add to the list or anything like that.
One north of the rest area, is that where we had a close encounter with the school bus? Or was that a mile to the west?
I don't remember a school bus, but there's been some incidents at that location.
Okay. So,
Yeah, coming from the north, visibility is good. From the south,
Yeah,
you're
it's
looking
kind
around the
of
hills.
crooked, so you can't see to the east.
got that curve there,
Yeah, you really don't see that train goes there,
right?
It's
going
kind of-
north.
You can see probably a quarter mile, that's about it. So, I mean, it's not a big issue to put in for them, it's just, do we wanna add those two, or put in for those two and add another one, or? Last year they did the one that, just south of Southam. That was on our list and we got approved, and that one got lights and the arms. And we're competing with the whole state for these crossings.
Right.
But if you never put in for them, they never get.
That's true.
I think keep it on the, would be a good idea.
Right.
Um,
Do we wanna add any? Normally it's up to the local road owner, it's an 80-20 split. Yeah, but they have to have, even like a township road, they have to have the county sponsor them, we have to sponsor them.
Sure.
So in the past, we've paid the 20% ourselves. I haven't, other than Elks Drive is. If the train usually goes slow down on the Elks Drive crossing, on the gravel portion of the Elks Drive. But the sight distance isn't real good to the west.
Hmm.
That's the only other one that I've had people ask about.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion that we add to Elks Drive to your application and we submit the other two.
okay.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to go ahead and add Elks Drive to the railroad crossing, request, along with the other two that we've had in previous years. Further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And I guess the next thing, the transportation alternative grant program is for bicycle paths, like our bike path or out south of town. I just wanted to make you guys aware, I'm glad to put in for a grant for this, but we end up paying for all the engineering, the grant doesn't pay for that. And we end up paying for 20% of the project. And then there's some other things that the grant will not pay for, so at the $150,000 project range, it's kind of a wash. But, I'd gladly put in for it if you guys think we want it. It won't be able to be built till 2026 if we're awarded. We know if we're awarded next year, then we have 2 years to get it designed and programmed.
I wonder how those bike paths would work on our roads that have been built up. Highway 19, Highway 57, Highway 2 out by the cliffs.
As far as
Well, as far as bike trail, walking trail on those areas.
I thought there was something happening. The state did ask if they could use like our Ramsey 8 west of Webster for this project. But they actually wanted to put the bike path on our pavement, which by the time you get traffic and the bike path and everything there, I'm told them that it wasn't wide enough for safety. It was
Right.
nowhere near being safe enough to meet two cars on a bike all at once. So we did get approached about that particular road, but I told them no, it just wasn't safe.
Well, I think with the increased subdivisions out in those particular areas wouldn't be a bad idea to have. But if it's only gonna cover a small portion of the project,
Right.
it'd be put on an awful lot under the local.
Of course, the larger the project, the more you would benefit from the grant, but it's only like I forget how much the grant was for, like 600,000 for the whole state, so.
I've been getting a lot of interest from people using the path on County One down there, how it's deteriorated.
Yeah, I think we already talked about putting it in our budget for next year, which, you know, at 150,000, that would be all of our costs. But this would be done in 26 if we got the grant a year later, 2 years later.
That's something that has to be in by the end of the year.
Yeah,
29th of December.
Yeah.
So, something we can think about and
Okay.
maybe if we have some other ideas or.
So this program grant, that's to repair, it would be to repair bike path also?
Yeah, maintenance, you know. Maintenance and, new ones, both.
Well, the last time that was done, how was that funded?
I believe the township paid half and we paid half. And that's what it was, like 125,000, I have to look again, but that's about what it cost, that total project. And that was in, 2016, I believe, so the costs have gone up pretty good since then.
If a person was to put in for the grant, and obviously talk to the township, and they supported it last time, there should have been some kind of maintenance plan, you would think, you know, it should just be put on account. But the question I would have is, are they on board with it too? So let's say you got a 20% cost, what kind of money could they help with?
Right.
You know, and there's some questions to be asked, I get it, but by December, but maybe meeting with that township would be something, obviously, I think it should be something that we can do to see.
I would talk to them all about this project, the bike project, bike path project. So yeah, we do need to approach them before we even get a program for next year or budgeted for next year.
So they can put it in their budget also.
Yeah. Mhm.
You know, and see what they feel about the grant project. You know, would they be in support of the grant project, or would they rather just take it on a high, you know, type thing? I think we should meet with them and get a feel on it anyway.
Meet with Real and see what their thoughts are and then.
You know, see what they've heard from the public also.
Right.
You're, you know, Scuttle,
Yeah.
I'm sure they are. At least you get both sides of the story before we move on also.
Sounds good, that's what we'll pursue it then. We've got a few months to get it in, so. Okay, the next item, we got now a rusted out culvert on Ramsey 9. Being Royal Township between sections 19 and 30, and it's on county road, of course, so we need to order a polyfloor culvert to replace it. And the cost of that culvert is $2,935.76. Looking for a motion to go ahead and order that.
I'll move. Second.
We have a motion and a second on the table to order a culvert for replacement of Ramsey County 9 in Royal Township. How long do those take to come in, Kevin?
The poly culvert ones usually take about 2 to 3 months.
Further discussion? All those in favor of ordering a culvert replacement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And, just to add to the culvert thing, we, the 3 72-inch culverts that we're gonna put in south of Kevin Reagan's, 1 mile south, they are built, they haven't been delivered yet, but my question is, do we want to do that yet this fall or wait till spring? We don't have the equipment, but we have to rent an excavator to do that ourselves. We'll probably rent one again next summer. So I guess I'd like to wait till then to do it unless find a contractor, I don't know. We don't want to spend that kind of money, but just looking for guidance there.
Is that crossing suitable for come next spring's runoff, you think, or?
I think so, yes. There's a hole in the top of the road that we have to fix, for sure, but it's not a giant hole either. It's 5, maybe 10 yards at the most hole, probably 5 yards. So we have to fix that.
Thoughts?
I guess I would think we're gonna get a excavator next late spring, I'm assuming. It would be done it during spring.
Right, early summer, late spring, yeah.
Yeah, if you think it'll handle water then, I guess I would be in favor of waiting till then.
That's the way we'll pursue it then.
Want that in the form of a motion?
Not for now, no.
Okay.
And one other thing, we did get a bill from Gowan for gravel and Ramsey County. We just got it yesterday, so I didn't get it included on. And I don't even have a voucher made out for it yet, but the graveling on Ramsey County 2 over by Penn. In fact, there's a couple miles that aren't on here even. It's not the total project, but it's $130,057.20. I guess I'm looking for a motion to go ahead and pay that. I got that in my budget also. But it's not the total project yet. My point, I guess, is that's a lot of money to sit on until first of next month.
I'll move to pay Gowan for the gravel.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go ahead and pay Gowan for gravel on Ramsey County 2 by Penn. Amount of $130,057.20. Further discussion? If not, roll call please.
Volk.
Aye.
Otis.
Aye.
Gessner.
Aye.
Wilhelmie.
Aye.
Frick.
Aye. Motion passes.
And that's all I have, unless you have something for me.
Thank you, Kevin.
Since the recent rains, I have had phone calls, from Nelson County 1. I think I've talked to you about that, the county line road. And then number 4, north of South and then north of 17.
Yeah.
I have no idea, so this is a question that I don't know. Is there funding enough that I could do some patch spots with gravel?
I would have to look at my budget. My first thought is no, but I'll have to crunch some numbers to see.
And with that question, would it be, and again, not knowing, because I'm not a road guy, could those areas be reclaimed back in and then crowned? Would that help?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what we're doing now, is trying to dry it out and, get the ground back in, so.
Is that county line road by Bartlett, North Bartlett?
Yeah.
There's like 2 or 3 spots on that road.
Yeah.
Another one is 4 north of 17. same shape. You can tell that somebody was hauling material in the rain, it's obvious. But I get it, the people gotta get through, that's what the roads are for.
That, county line road over in the Bartlett area, do those cattails get addressed on the side of that road?
Get what?
Get addressed in any way? Do they get burned? Do they get cut? Do they get?
No, they do not. I don't believe any of them. Maybe one time in the years I've been here, they sprayed cattails along
On the road there?
a coulee, no, through a coulee, and then maybe hit one pass through there, but otherwise, no.
It seems like some of them are fairly close and could be really troublesome, especially come winter time. Wondering how we can address that or work on that issue.
Generally, where the cattails are, the snow problem is on both ends of them, not where the actual cattails are. But boy, in the end, they get that.
I know it's too late for spraying, wouldn't be advantageous for this year, but maybe that's something we can look into next year. I know there's some drone services out there that spray along roadways for cattails. And it's usually about a 2-year process before you see the full kill effect on them, but becomes pretty effective.
I could visit with our weed department too, maybe they could help out, I don't know.
Or if it dries down this fall after a big freeze, maybe we can get some of it burnt. Cattails hold a tremendous amount of snow. Okay, as long as we're working on that Nelson County line, phone calls will slow down.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
There's three roads that, yeah, you could tell they were hauling material.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay. Anything else for Kevin? Kevin, anything else for us? Thank you. Unfinished business, we have a discussion of floodplain administration and FEMA letter. Chris and I were talking about this a little bit yesterday, and we still have about 30 days to respond to that FEMA request on what our land authorizations are gonna be regarding floodplain administration. Bo had come up with a couple of different resolutions to send out to the townships. And one would be for the township to sign off on the resolution that they're gonna do their own floodplain administration. And the other one would be that, no, we'd like the county to go ahead and do floodplain administration. So he's got two different resolutions that we can send out to them. It's got, a spot for their signature, for their township supervisors, and a place to file that with the county auditor's office. And signed by the Ramsey County chairman as well. One of them says, zoning, floodplain management, and enforcement are the same as required in chapter 6116.2 of the North Dakota Century Code. Upon filing this resolution with Ramsey County Auditor's Office, this resolution shall only be effective if signed by the township chairman, township officer, township clerk, and chairman of the Ramsey County Commission. And it kind of, throughout the resolutions, it identifies the proper century code that is being referred to, that gives the county and the townships the authorities to do so. Department of Water Resources last week held a 2-day floodplain management administration course, 101. Chris and I both attended that virtually. And the discouraging thing at the end was it was opened up to townships, and I think there was maybe 4 people that attended that. So there's 53 counties in the state. Every county has, 36 townships. Every township has a minimum of 3 members. 4 of them decided that it was important enough to attend. So it's not a real priority with townships apparently. But this will be a start to go ahead and send these resolutions out to the townships. I know Chris has spoken to a couple of the township supervisors about whether or not they want to follow that or they want to follow the county. Better check on our auditor, make sure she's okay.
I'm trying to be quiet.
And just trying to be better.
Mhm.
Okay. So, I don't know if anybody has any questions, comments on that. Chris, you have anything you'd like to add on those?
Not in particular, really happy with Bo, got that information out last night. I appreciate all his hard work, in helping with this, process. So now it's just time to get out, start talking to the township people and get that stuff at least in their hands.
Your plan is to physically deliver these?
If I have to, yeah, I will drive wherever they're at. Yep.
Both.
Yep. Plan on making phone calls to the immediate vicinity of Devil's Lake, seeing when I can meet up or wherever they're at, I'll drive to them. If that has to, if that's what's required.
And so it looks like a really, really big ask from Department of Water Resources, FEMA, for the counties to take this on. They went through this laundry list of things that you need to do this, and this, a whole big checklist. But to preference that, it was stated that we understand that we're all busy and this isn't your primary job. Which is, going through that laundry list and living in the area that we live in, we have areas that have and flooded in the past and could potentially flood in the future. Could be a major undertaking for somebody whose job description is 10% of his time for floodplain management. It could really turn into something that could potentially be asked of more. And it's another one of those unfunded mandates from the state and federal government that you will abide by this kind of thing. And so more and more training would be beneficial, just to get a better grasp on what they're asking and what they're requiring. Chris had a really good idea that we're going to propose to the Department of Water Resources to come up with a checklist, a website that you can go on, and these are the things that check the box if you fit in this category, check the box if you fit in that category, and have some sort of baseline that you can follow. That's easy enough to follow without having to go back to school for 4 years to understand floodplain administration. Making sure that your community is properly protected, that the citizens of your area can qualify and receive flood insurance through the National Flood Insurance Program, and all those kind of happy things. But we'll bring that up and have some suggestions to the state and see if we can't fulfill some of that. So. Questions regarding floodplain administration and the letter to FEMA? If not, Highway 2 corridor project, I'll turn that over to Mr. Volk.
I guess I handed it out to you guys last Friday. We got together as a committee. And, Kevin Fripp, sitting here, he sat down and went over the corridor. We did as a committee of what we think would be the most logical and safest changes, what to eliminate, what not to eliminate, what should be widened, where we should put some turn lanes in. I guess all our suggestions are handed out to you guys, and if you want, we can go through the whole corridor, or I guess what I'm looking for is the support from the commission to send this forward, maybe put a letter, we could ask Bo to put a letter together with the document that we have in front of here and send it forward to the state. Is that kind of what you would like to see also, Kevin?
Yeah, it's pretty much, I kind of feel like we're being held at gunpoint from the North Dakota DOT asking us to pick out different intersections and crossings that can be eliminated, and then they will look at extending turn lanes out there, where the whole safety of the corridor has just become such a priority over the last 10 years because of the increased traffic and development out that direction. It's just amazing. So, along with the cancellation of different intersections and so forth, we put together this list with our recommendations for turn lanes and widening of different spots, and emphasize different spots that are particularly vulnerable. And I would like to send all of this information to them, and whether they are going to use it or not is another question. At least we're giving them the information they requested, along with a lot of other pertinent information that might sway their engineers.
And like we said as a committee, it's just suggestions, it's a safety of the public. It's not that we're engineers or anything like that.
Right.
It's not that this would be set in stone, it's just what we came up with, and they would have to look at it and come back, and then, obviously, maybe possibly have a public meeting, so, if there's some concern from the public on what we submitted or what we got back from DOT, everybody would have a voice. Just kind of how we were one move with it. It's only suggestions, it's not set in stone.
Yeah, I feel like they threw us the ball, we took it, made the modifications, wrote a big list, and now it's time for us to throw it back to them and see where we go from there.
The list looks good. You guys did a good job putting this together. So Bill, Blaine, Kevin, Al, if you're watching, thank you. Yeah, looks good.
Kevin should be commended for all the work they put into that.
Yeah.
Done well.
Yeah, it took quite a few hours to.
And when we were together as a committee, that's why we wanted people that don't live out there, people that live out there, the township. I mean, the guys that live out there obviously see this day to day. For me to just come in and put this together and say, I want to get rid of this or add this, and
tough decision. And that's why we wanted to have the township part of the committee present it to the commission.
So we need now is a letter and then submitting this to DOT.
Yes, true, I don't have the original letter with me from the DOT, but that, Hanky,
Yep,
he requested a response by a certain date.
November 1, I believe it
It has
was.
in here, please return those results back to the North Dakota DOT by November 1st, 2023. And that's why as the committee, we wanted to meet early so that we're not giving them a 1-day suspense. We would like to give them pertinent time to look this over. If there's any questions that would go back and forth because of the November 1 is the deadline where they have to make their decisions. We definitely want to give them time. Kind of what we agreed on.
In your conversations with any of these guys, have they indicated that if we got this to them in a timely manner, that any of this could get done with that project that they plan on for next summer?
It doesn't sound like it, it sounds, at first, unofficial conversations between some of the people, it sounded like they could, yes, we can get that done, but when it comes right down to it, there's so much red tape as to what they have to do a project. All of the red tape was finished for the project with reduced conflict in intersections. So you would think that, you pull this out, you just put this in. No, that isn't the way it goes. There's way too many regulations that they have to go through in order to get everything approved. So this has to be a separate project in the future. And they have to jump through all the hoops and cross the T's and dot the I's, and then they get it approved and funded, and then they go ahead with it. At least that's the way I think it's gonna go.
That's the way I got it too, talking to them, is some of the intersections that are out there were supposed to be temporary. And now they're kind of making us, hey, make a decision if you want it or don't. Well, if it was temporary, why did it become permanent? So did some of the temporary access points make some hazards to the public? Probably. We had talked about that, and we're not 100% sure what was supposed to be temporary and what was supposed to be permanent. We're going off of the main avenues, obviously if it's a main avenue, you probably have to keep that,
Yeah, streets and avenues have to have access.
We don't want to take the access away from the public either. What we thought was the most common sense.
Any comments from the other commission? Do we want to go ahead and approve this list that the township and our committee came up with? Sending a letter off to Mr. Hankey and the DOT that this would be what our recommendations would be for the improvements along the Highway 2 corridor from Devil's Lake to the Hefty Rest area.
I'd like to make the motion of sending these concerns or this letter along with a support letter from the county.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I would second that.
We have a motion and a second to go ahead and send these recommended changes to the Highway 2 corridor, Senex East to the Hefty Rest area, along with a letter of support to DOT. Further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you guys for your hard work on that. Appreciate it. Okay. Nothing under unfinished business. Going back to our list of new business. Approve of the 2023 appraised values set hearing for October 17th, 2023 at 5:45 p.m. And I think we have our assessed values. in the packet. And
That's basically just a public hearing, correct?
yeah,
I send a notice to, the townships and the cities, letting them know that, you know, that these properties are, you know, in foreclosure and can come in and address their concerns. And this list was as of, 4:00 yesterday. I don't know if we've gotten, anything in the mail yet today, but the
So they
highlighted ones are the ones
Basically,
that,
put this in the paper, right? Or is this one in the paper?
no, not
Is that
this,
this?
not this, no. It's similar to that, but
We're looking for a motion, Jeff, to have this as a date and time.
Yep.
I'll move the motion, October 17, 2023, at 5:45. We'll approve.
are you approving the assessed values on this as well?
the figures are,
Appraised values?
the figures that are listed are the 3 years plus, and the estimate of the 20 current taxes. I didn't get any calls back, like if there would be additional specials added to any of them.
Okay.
But usually we set the appraised value for, we don't go above and beyond, we just set the appraised value to what is owed against it.
How is this affected by the Attorney General's opinion or wait?
Haven't gotten it back?
Haven't gotten one yet.
Right, I mean, this is part of what he's looking at, right? But
Well,
we have to do this because it's required by.
This is required.
this is required.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just part of the whole foreclosure process.
We had a second on that, didn't we? Or did we just?
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the appraised values and the date for the hearing on that, October 17th, 5:45 PM. Further discussion, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 2024 Blue Cross Blue Shield renewal, page 18C in your budget book. Thank you, Maddie, for coming today. Okay. You ready, Candy?
Go.
Go. So Blue Cross Blue Shield renewal rates for Ramsey County for the 2024. If I read that right, is it a 19.9% increase?
Yes.
Do we have a choice in that matter? Do we negotiate down to a 10% increase?
If we tell everybody not to go to the doctor.
We want people to take care of themselves.
And you're seeing the increase because there were, I believe there was like a breakdown. Like a high claim.
There was a couple high dollar amounts last year. Can we just say it that way?
Yep.
Okay.
Sad to say that you pay insurance for that reason, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you have a couple high claims and they penalize you. But, you know, it seems like that not fair to the people that have to go and get stuff done. You don't feel it, you don't feel it.
And we don't want to prevent anybody from
No,
doing
exactly.
So,
And of course, for a couple of years, like after COVID, we didn't see much of an increase because they take it from the year prior. So now we're.
anybody have any questions on the Blue Cross Blue Shield renewals for 2024?
We really don't have a lot of options, right?
And the dental and vision, that was basically a wash.
One went up, one went
Because
down.
one went up and then the other one went down. So.
And we need to approve that in the form of a motion.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to go ahead and approve the 2024 Blue Cross Blue Shield renewal. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion unanimously carries. 2024 budget. So it looks like we saved 36,000 with Matty Cummings voluntarily reducing their ask. Doesn't change percentage. Looked like the way it was, previously we'd had a 2.99% increase from last year. Any discussion on where we want to go, what we want to approve?
I have a question for Sheriff Wayne. Vehicles. How old are our vehicles?
We just got rid of some, let's see, the 2018 Silverado, some
2019 would be our ex-holdings.
And like how many miles are on that?
They're encroaching that 100 to 120.
And my question was, is 3 needed or could we get by with less?
We could get by with 2. I could cut 1.
So that part of the budget could be modified then?
Yes.
Thank you. I know it's about safety for our enforcement people.
Right.
But they were pretty generous giving a lot of money to other parts of the department for safety and wellness.
Absolutely.
I know when we sat here last time and Jeff, we talked about the budget. I think we're talking about the budget and we're talking about numbers. Instead of talking about numbers, like money, I think we should talk about mills. So if we come to a budget and you're putting to the public, and I know we always base everything off of mills, is it better to say if we were to cut something out, it's to lower the mills? It's not necessarily to lower the spending deal, but the mills is, I think, how a lot of people understand. We're spending so many mills, right? I mean, to me, it seems like that's how we're always going forward with everything. So every time, if we are to cut something, or are not to cut something, that I think we should still base it off of. This is where we're at for mills, and this is where we're going forward or not going forward.
So the difference in the mill from, what was assessed last year or was, 108.69 mil versus 114.2. And so that's a 5.33 mil levy difference. Mill valuation is 72,308, 72, just about 73 cents. 72,308.
And last year's mill was
68,801.57.
I guess the next question I have, as far as the commission sitting here, are we okay with going 108 to 114? And I know you had said this earlier, Jeff, that we should have probably had prior, meeting, and not to put anybody on the spot, or not blaming anybody. I'm as much to blame as anyone else, so I should have brought the question up sooner. Are we okay with that 5.3 levy increase, or are we not? To me, that's where we have to try to split the differences. Are we sitting here where we try to get rid of half of what's going up, because I know costs go up? Or we need to take the cost of what the economic is doing to us and say that's what a fair share is?
I don't know. And I know after I left the meeting last time, and I started thinking, yeah, we were throwing numbers out there, but is it really off of what a mill is, you know? And understanding, you know, it went from 68 to 72. The cost is gonna be there more. You know, you're gonna see that increase in the larger number. Maddie coming in with a 3/4 mil and doing it on your own to present that to us and say, hey, I saved 3/4 mil and I can project it out another year. I commend her for that because I don't think you're gonna see a lot of departments come here and do this today. You know, I think there was some concern that everybody that watched the meeting knows that there is some concern with the budget. So I guess I'm looking at, do we want to leave the budget at a 5.34 levy or do we want to?
If you got department heads that come in and they can justify their numbers, I think most of them have. There's a lot of those increases that have to be done.
Oh, right, and that's what I'm saying.
So to pick a number, you know, it's a 5 mil increase and we're gonna go halfway and we gotta find something to cut that. The only thing I concern myself with as far as the budget is this the best way to spend public money? Okay. Jeff's completely right, nobody came in and complained about the budget at the budget meeting. But we all know they do. And I'm sorry, Sean, I don't believe in your training center. I don't. It's not that I don't believe we need one, because I totally agree with you on that. Okay? But I don't agree that it's going to be a break-even entity. I do know enough about training that I don't see it being a break-even. That somebody's always gonna have to pony up something. And currently, it's the county, the city, and Lake Region Ambulance, because they donate the building. I mean, that's a huge financial commitment to that thing. But I think the entities that believe they're gonna use it should be putting something in there to show me that they're also committed to it. Now I get that search and rescue, you know, these guys don't have a lot of money, okay? But to say, hey, we're gonna make this commitment because we need this, says a lot to me. And I haven't seen that. Maybe you haven't, I don't know. But I haven't seen it. It's not personal. When I walk through this door, I put on the county commissioner hat, I leave everything else outside. And that's why the building as it sits, the drone team is in there right now, I think somebody told me. I know the SWAT team's been in there, I have no problem with making sure that's got the heat on, lights work. Excuse me. You know, because it is being used by the community. But I'm sorry, but I can't get my mind around, committing that much public funds, whether it's needed or not, is something that it hasn't been proved to me that there's enough outside entities that use it. Like I said, it's not personal. But if you take, you know, I realize it's not much, right? You got 36,000 from the library. I don't know what your vehicle cost, Brian, 50? You know, you put another 50 on there, does that make a huge dent? No. But to me, that's a good place. You know, I mean, if that's all we cut, that's all we cut, but I think that's that's a good thing. We're looking at the budget. I've got other concerns, but those are things that are probably gonna have to be policy changes on how we do. You know, I really do believe that the commissioners, whatever portfolio you have, you know, you should be forced to sit down with your department heads and go through your employee evaluations with them, so you're up to speed on what's going on with your portfolio. You know, give you a chance to sit, you know, one-on-one with those guys and you have a complete understanding, not just kind of a broad picture.
Can I ask a question? I'm so sorry if I misunderstood earlier.
I'm more of the answer.
Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. So the mill value for 2024, is that 48.9 something, or is it
That's a rural mill.
a rural mill? Okay.
So you're taxed on two different, you're taxed on city and
And
county.
rural,
Yeah,
I understand. I was,
right.
for throwing these numbers around, I was gonna say, I need a lot less then, but.
And so together they're 72,308.
Incredible. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Brian, does that put your department at any sort of disadvantage, do you think, with putting off an additional car? And is it gonna come back or is it something we're going to have to purchase next year?
No, to be honest with you, we can get by with two. The way I structured it when we got rid of the last cars, we held cars back. We only traded one in, so we got two that are in for spare cars right now. And even if we increased, we got vehicles to cover everybody. And if something, vehicles should go down, we got coverage for other vehicles. Let's take one back from Chris.
Okay, so, because I don't want to leave being short, you know, because I understand that those are for 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day, those are those deputies' offices. And to provide them in a safe environment.
The good thing, but it was a bad thing, is we were short-staffed for a year and a half here. Now that we're up to full staff, so a lot of these cars that are in service don't got a lot of miles on them. So they might be a little bit older, but with less miles, so we can carry through it.
Okay.
What kind of average miles does a car get in a year? Just as a number.
Most of them were probably pushing anywhere, depending on what's going on, is that 40 to 60,000 a year.
I do have one thing I would like to clarify to whoever sent this anonymous letter. I'm not here to bash the safe house. And I never once said that I want to take money away from the safe house or the homeless shelter. So on Friday morning, I made the attempt to walk through that area. The question I have when the individual called, who is giving money to this? Who is getting support? The individual told me that, yep, our Ramsey County is the most support we do, but there is other people that get beds there also. And my question to the individual is, I talked to the mayor, there was no ask from the city with this shelter being in the city. Why was there no money asked from the city? Why didn't we just come to the county? It's just our problem. And, the site that I seen walking through the alley is far between professional to our community. And then I walked down to the street of where Amachi is, in a brick and mortar building, very nice. I walked in the building, didn't get any help. I walked in there, grabbed the card to try to voice my concern. It's not a good sight going through that alley. The graffiti that's put on the buildings over there, I'm not saying that those are the people that are doing it, but perception is not very good. If you have not been over there, I extremely challenge you to go through that alley and see what it is at 6 a.m. I'm not gonna lie, I felt I should have been carrying at that point. I was super nervous. I probably would not walk that at 6 a.m. again. But I wanted to know truthfully, am I sitting here saying that I do not support the shelter? I'm not saying I don't support the shelter because I do. But I don't agree with not going to other entities other than Ramsey County Commission to get money. It isn't a double standard. And if we are supporting Benson and Eddy and other counties, have we presented the same letter to them for their same amount of money? Because if we have not, and we put one person in there from another county, we are now taking Ramsey County taxpayers to help other counties that need the same support that we need. And not at once did I say we would get rid of it. It was just open for conversational purposes. Is it the right thing for Ramsey County? And when I talked to the individual on the phone, there is other programs out there, and their percentages aren't as high as ours. And gratitude to the Amachi for having a higher percentage. But I just think that it could be presented to other entities as well as it was to us, and we wouldn't have to eat the full 25,000. Not to say that I don't support it, because that's not true. But it's hard for me to see a brick and mortar building, and we're gonna say pride and joy that we're gonna put these people up in the shelter in as rough a shape as it is. That's hard for me to stomach when people are looking at Amachi on a really nice building. Granted, you rent, and then you go down and look where these people are putting up in a shelter that is not very presentable. That's my concern. Is that good for our community? Are we supporting something? Yeah, we are. As we sit now, we're supporting the people that go to there. But are we affecting the other property that's over there? And what I could see, it affects the other property that is over there. So for me to support it 100%, that's tough. That's tough to see. And like I said before, I'm not here to judge, but it's tough when I see where the people work and where the people are being put up.
Can I say something?
Yep, sure can, Melody.
I just want to make sure that you know that SAFE is a separate entity from
Yep.
Amachi and the Virgin.
I understand that.
So then SAFE shelter, we have policies, we have procedures, we have, safety, things in place for our victims when they go into shelter. So I just want you to know that.
And it's two different letters, I understand that, it's two different asks, and I understand that because Candy explained that to me. And I called the law enforcement, and they use SAFE once in a while. it's there for them.
Yeah, we can't do homelessness due to just homelessness, our grants don't allow that. We can only do it if it's, for domestic violence or sexual violence,
And I understand that.
so. Just wanna make sure,
And that's what I was stating, what was sent in from whomever sent this in. I want them to know that. I understand that safe is different from the shelter. And it is.
and we did go to the, city for funding, they cut our funding in half. And we do get funding from Eddy County, Benson County, and from, in the past, Ramsey County as well.
As far as safe.
As far as safe goes, yeah, for county donations, we use the donations for, unrestricted funds and for matching of the 30 grants that we have right now, in place to keep operations going. And unfortunately, on Monday, there was a pipe leak in our, we rent, space under Lamont's in Lock Block, and the ceiling collapsed in 2 of our rooms that we use, and so like, we do work with the FBI a lot, and they were coming today to do forensic interviews, and I'm like, I'm sorry, we can't do it right now because the ceiling is collapsed with body damage in our big conference room where we use supervised visitations and our, offender treatment classes that we do both for the, so just to give you guys of where we're up against some hard times right now, and we are trying to look for another solution, whether we have to build a building or find a place where we can renovate or rent to help our clients.
So another entity that could use a training facility. Possibly.
Yeah. Someplace to be able to utilize.
How many spaces?
But as a renter, they're not, you're renting the facility you're in, correct?
Yeah.
So as a renter, they're not expecting you to fix that facility, are they?
We haven't heard anything yet. They have requested now and again, but Tom is usually really good at working with us, so. Yeah. We just had a site visit too from our grantors, and they're wanting us to find a different location, due to, the entry of coming in and going. We need to find 2 separate entries, which we're having troubles with in finding that, so we're taking other precautions, for safety.
And as I said, the safe and the shelter is 2 different. I understand that, and I clarified that we can do last meeting. In my understanding, the safe is used by the sheriff or by the police department if needed. So I clarified that with Mr. Lang and have no problem supporting that. It's just, I wish someone was here from Machi today to clarify.
I contacted Brenda, she's out of state this week. She did indicate that Armachi's been in Devil's Lake for over 30 years. It was originally under the RSVP program. When UND relinquished the federal grant about 9 years ago, it became a community-based program. Armachi has youth mentoring program, which matches an at-risk youth with an adult mentor. The Mid-State Volunteer Program, which matches high school students or senior citizens with agencies needing volunteers. Recovery program was added about 5 years ago. Case managers and peer support specialists assist persons in recovery, which reduce repeat offenders, etc. Armachi was asked 2 years ago to take oversight of the Lake Region shelter. It was a big undertaking. Needing to relocate meant needing city approval. 75% of the surrounding property owners needed to approve. It is located in a multi-purpose building, which was once the clinic. They were approved for a 12-bed facility. It is full every night. They must be sober and stay. They help with finding, must be sober to, in order to stay there. And we help with finding employment, housing, and other resources they may need. So anything else on the 2024 budget discussion? We want to approve as is. We want to approve with the reductions that were brought up by Maddie, Sheriff Lang. Any others?
I would like to see a reduction of 50,000 for training.
No, I think the training center is a pretty good deal. I do have an issue with Sean asking for a different number, and Sean, you and I have discussed that. When you originally came in, you were looking at an ask of about 37,000, I think it was. The city gave you 50 after that, and then you just would like to match what the city was offering.
It was an open shop with the city.
Yeah. So that's where that difference in the 37 and the 50 is. I understand that. I do think that facility would get used. I would like to see a bigger facility, but it's, and we all know how much bigger facilities cost, and building new facilities is expensive. Do you have an idea, Sean, on how to fund this outside of city and county contributions moving forward?
We are very much looking forward into doing charitable gaming.
Okay.
To cover the costs of what's going to be held there.
Okay.
So, from that, we're gonna, of course, have to have a budget on that, of what we'll be using it for. The first priority would be maintaining of the building.
Sure.
The second would be for, say, training equipment itself. And then the third would be looking for possible endowments and scholarships for first responders in the region. But that's down the line. Our first priority is to get 100% funding through something like charitable gaming, because just teaching alone, most of the classes that we teach are free of charge. So we do have some interest, but I have to bring it up to the board of people wanting to rent the facility too. We're having their meetings and trainings outside agencies that are not first responders.
Sheriff Lang, being a first responder, you see a need for a training facility such as this?
Yeah, we do need an area. Right now, for us, for law enforcement, depending on what training we bring in, we use the BCI building when it's available. But when it comes for defensive tactics, we're at the mercy if we can get in up at the college to do any of that. So this facility would give us that avenue. How much it would get used, all depends on.
Approximate classroom size, Sean?
50.
50. So that's a good sized classroom. Other thoughts?
When you talk about charitable gaming, is there any facilities left to offer that?
There's a couple that we're opening up, but our biggest thing now is to get a gaming manager and work with them. So I know there's some spots that are not open, but we'll be looking at sites that currently have places in them already, so.
Essentially, you'd be looking at taking on an entity that someone else already has.
Yeah. I know that could be a big conflict, but we've got,
Yeah, I just.
we have to look at all the options.
I know what you're saying, I'm just
hate to steal from someone else and then all of a sudden you come back with people not supporting you on the other half also.
That's why we've been taking it very slowly, very carefully. So in the perfect world, we find a spot that doesn't have anybody in it, that would be starting out. But since it's a regional thing, we don't have to just stay to the lake region, we can look at different places as well.
Any other reductions in the budget or proposed reductions?
As I said before, my thing is, I'm not against the shelter. I think they should go get half from the city. I'd like to see us get half. from the city.
Half of our 25?
Yeah. I would like to have the support, since the building is in the city. I think the city should be supporting it also, if we're gonna support it, so that there's skin in the game of if there's complaints that something is affecting businesses around the area. But that's just my opinion.
No, that's the next year issue.
Right, and if it comes down to it, we're supporting the 25,000. They come back next year for the same thing. Personally, I feel that they need to reach out and make sure that they have support from other entities also.
Well, and here's a suggestion moving forward. You know, nobody likes these outside entities coming in and asking for money. I say for moving forward, we put outside entities under a department. And that department portfolio approves that fund moving forward. And whether it be a first responder, you could fall under the sheriff's department or emergency management. You know, and that way that department's budget absorbs that cost or budgets for that cost. And then we can question those department heads. And it moves through the county that way. Make sense to anybody?
Makes sense to me, just as the general public.
You know, because I think it'd be really easy to put safe in the shelter and you know, put them into a different department altogether. And that way it's departmentized. And Melody could go to that department, ask for X number of dollars. And then it's within that department budget that, you know, you still get your money the same way as you always would, but it'd be under a department, whether it be public health or social services or the sheriff's department or something of that nature. And that way it's a little less confusing, and then they have to convince that department head that.
I think the questions would be asked differently.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, for you to question these people that it's only because where do we draw the line on our budget? And it's not that I don't support, but like I said, and like you have said, we have to depend on department heads also. And yeah, the policy should be that we should probably sit down with the departments and make sure we're on the same page.
So even if we didn't cut anything out of the budget, a 3% increase versus what nationally a 9% inflation rate is holding our cost pretty tight. And a lot of hard work's gone into that budget. And this person to my left has bared a big burden on that, putting that together. So city gives our Machi $10,000. Other ideas on the budget? Mr. Wilhelm, you have anything?
Yeah, I guess my main concerns were, again, like Commissioner Gester with the training center, just ensuring that it's not a perpetual money hole, I guess, that it is at least mostly self-supporting at some point in the future. Like, I guess, like Commissioner Volk already addressed all the safe house and the shelter, and they're all just unfortunately necessary evils of quote-unquote civilized society. Just, they have to be there, so.
It's not going away.
No.
I don't care if we give $3 million, it's not going away. And just looking at what's happened in the law enforcement side of the house. Bo was here, I know he could sit here and vouch for us. Crime is not getting better. So, I don't know, money isn't always the answer to fix the problems. I mean, reality has to be reality. If, you know, if you're that troublesome person, I know we all get to make decisions, we're all sitting here trying to make decisions. To try to go down the right path. You know, it's not always gonna be the best decisions, but we have to support the decision that we make. And when individuals make the wrong decision, again, you wanna get them on the right path. You know, I'll use this today as from the school asking, are we gonna help more for society by supporting that project? And we are gonna be supporting others. Who are we to say that we know those numbers? We don't. Does it just become a big spending game? You know, like he said, darned if you do, darned if you don't. I don't know, it's tough decisions.
I guess I would like to make a mention that, our budget seems high, but we hopefully won't have this happen again where we have all these things come to us, like technology for the tax rate, or technology for the courthouse. Even though it doesn't affect the budget individually, you know, we've given out a lot of money over the past year, and then have a budget come in high, so hopefully a lot of this stuff will be lesser next year, hopefully. Can't take away salaries, you can't do that. In fact, You know, we talked one day, what do we do with salaries, like for Kevin's highway department? We're gonna have to do something next year so we can change salary schedules somehow, so it's easier for us to hire people, other than having leave our departments. And it happens everywhere, not just the highway. So hopefully, through this process, it'll be better next year.
I mean, that's a concern of mine also, that I was gonna bring up, but I know with strap. But what is the reasoning for the exit of the people that are losing? Is it money?
It is.
Well, the budget will be less next year because Kevin won't have a paving project in 25, right? Even years will be
The big ones.
are the big ones. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why our budget's, you know, just about $1 million. Out of that is an increase in the highway budget for the paving project next summer. So somebody make a motion on the budget.
I will so move to accept the 24 budget with the changes that's been talked about today, that's been offered to us from the library and Sheriff Lang.
So roughly $86,000.
Approximately, yes.
86,776. Yeah. 676.
Okay. Do we have a second on that?
I will second.
We have a motion and a second to go ahead and approve the budget with the reductions discussed today of reducing a sheriff car by one and the reduction in the Lake Region Library by Ms. Cummings amounts. Further discussion? Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Volk,
Nay.
Otis,
Alright,
Gessner,
Nay.
Will Cody,
Aye.
Fred.
Aye. Motion carries. Budget's approved. Again, thank you for all your hard work. Greatly appreciate it. Member Fincher. Remaining items on the agenda, visitors and delegations. Garland Hoisted, you want to address the commission about the letter that you have?
Yeah, I get it. Do my mouth. I'm preparing a little statement, but I'm talking to, I like to address the other owners. And this, I made some copies of it. And, in the lower left-hand corner, I wrote the date that's on the homestead. According to the Sovereign Land Management Department in North Dakota, now owns all land flooded by water that is part of Devil's Lake. If ground is covered by water not part of Devil's Lake, then the land might not be owned by the state. For years, the county has collected taxes on the land.
on land flooded by water connected to a public way. Even though according to at least one state sovereign land management official, it is improper for the county to tax or sell other land that is owned by the state. The county and the landowners need a fair and affordable way to determine the flooded land belongs to the state and which remains private and therefore taxable. The important issue further explained that Attorney General on how to determine the legal boundaries of where the state is entitled to claim sovereign ownership of inundated property, private property without obligation to pay for it, while recognizing water doesn't flow upstream or uphill. As part of the further official explanation, the county and landowners need to know if any inundated patent land is exempt from state ownership. The 2004 Attorney General's letter of opinion about Devil Lake addressed to Mike Hunter did not answer these questions. And when Devil Lake became flooded and kept flooded under the operation of the Sovereign Land Act, it takes away everything from people who've been on that property for the last 150, 40 years. And they took all our income, our retirement, everything. You can't, the onus is on us to challenge them. What do you challenge them? You don't have any resources, or hire an attorney. But I have been digging a little bit, and I found a case from 1871, on Pelly versus the
Green Bay.
Green Bay Company. Would you read that highlighted in yellow? Just read it out loud and see what you guys think of it.
Okay, what's here is highlighted. We do not think it is necessary to consume time in providing that when the United States sells land by treaty or otherwise in parts with the fee of patent without reservation, it retains no right to take that land for public use without just compensation. Nor does it confer such as a right on the state within which it lies, and that the absolute ownership and right of private property in such land is not varied by the fact that it borders on navigable stream.
And that's from the U.S. Supreme Court, 1871. Then we got from our own U.S. or state Supreme Court, 1949 case. We are here dealing with titles vested by patents from the United States. Such titles cannot be affected by declaration of navigability contained in Section 61-1501 of the Century Code. The legislature may not adopt a retroactive definition of navigability that would destroy a title already vested under federal grant or transferred to the state of property rights and a body of water on the bed thereon that had previously been acquired by a private owner. So it's really confusing. Water laws are confusing. It kind of says that property laws, you gotta have some basis for own property. You can't just, it's almost, I get a kick out of the first sentence. We do not think it's necessary to consume time in providing, proving. It's like, geez, common sense, you guys. You
give it to one person, you can't give it to another entity. And the patent was granted to the people, you know, come before state law. And now it's being taken from them. And, it's really kind of confusing, the water laws are confusing, but ownership seems rather definite. But I think it would be, you know, clear up a few matters about what is the responsibility of the county. Does the county have, you have a clear title, can you sell it to somebody else? The state says they own it. I don't own it, county doesn't own it, township doesn't own it, the state owns it. So I'm just hoping that somewhere the attorney general can come up with some kind of conclusion. It's not like our legislators haven't made a mistake before. I think we're going back to special session now, aren't they, to rest class up people? So, they're just people too. But I'm hoping you'll forward it on to them.
So that's what you're asking is to forward this request on to the Attorney General for their clarification and opinion on the additional questions that you brought to us.
Do we, being patented land, do we still retain that, do we have that ownership? And I know we can't change it, but once the state can take it, but they gotta compensate people for it. You can't just arbitrarily take something from people and not take any compensation. We can understand why they did it, and it doesn't look like it, you know, they're managing it as a reservoir now. Not Devil's Lake anymore, it's a Devil's Lake reservoir. They pump, they don't pump. You know, and you can read on the website, managed for recreation, or, you know, whatever they have, but agriculture is not one of them. So, I'd like a little clarification, I think it would be good for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
You got something?
No,
Karen, would you like to add anything?
no, I think the letter made the point pretty clear. How can you tax something that the state owns? We're still paying taxes. We thought it was so that we could retain our ownership, so. You know, and then the rest of the residents are picking up the balance. We'd all be better off if 100 and some thousand acres were in production. Including the county and the state.
Well, it's not fair for the county to take the taxes that you don't collect on inundated land and spread it on the dry land. It's like you were talking about the homeless shelter. They come in from other counties. Well, the water that comes into Devil's Lake doesn't all come from Ramsey County. A lot of it's coming from Howard County, Rod County, Cavalier County, and they're across the hall, they're pursuing even more drainage.
Motion for that, you have to pass it on to the states, or to the Attorney General, or is that something? that goes to
Well,
his office?
I know that Bo is looking into this, and I know he would have liked to have been here to discuss this. In court and unable to, so. But, he's had a copy of this since we received it from Garland. And water law being as complicated as it is, he still doesn't have all the answers, and not sure when he would have an answer, but certainly we can forward this to Bo for him to draft something up for an opinion to the Attorney General's office, if that's what we'd so like to do.
So is that a yes, you need a motion?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry.
I move that we have instruct the state's attorney to take Mr. Gardner, Mr. Hoisted's letter and the updated questions and send them to the Attorney General for opinion.
I second that.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to go ahead and ask our state's attorney to take Mr. Hoisted's questions, forward it on to the Attorney General for clarification and an opinion. Any further discussion? I think that kind of covered it, so if not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you both for coming in. And we forgot to bring in the water board. I don't know if they had anything for us today. Oh, okay. Visitors, delegations, I think we've got that covered unless there's somebody online that's sending us messages. Announcements, portfolios. You can start with Commissioner Volk.
We don't have anything at this time for the meeting, most of the meetings, I think on out here this week. So that'll be something for next. Oh, I didn't take that back. Roger did say, November timeframe is when the bid process for that generator. Sorry,
Okay.
I missed that. Because we had asked where we're at, so I asked them if that's where we're at. Just for clarification.
And locks are being installed.
Yep. We're moving some locks around for the cost of no sense of spending $500-600 on a lock. They're moving around in these closets and stuff, other rooms that obviously they don't need them. The safety of everyone.
Okay. Commissioner Otis,
Which one you want first?
it doesn't matter.
Senior center, their contingent of meals served has more than doubled in the last 2 months, which is a good thing for them. And also, they have their sweet shop is now open if somebody's looking for some sweet stuff for the fall season, and it closes, I think it's November 20th. I think, I don't have that in front of me, but I think that's the close date. You can call there to order, or I think you can look online and find it as well. Lake Mountains Service, Social Service. At the last meeting, it was taught that the state is thinking of taking over some of the indirect costs and making it direct, which would be helpful for us. So that's a good thing if that happens. I don't know just where in that process it is and run it. Didn't give a clear idea when that was gonna be, but that will soon, not soon, but sometime coming up. That'd be a good thing. Their staffing is good. Two meetings ago, we did have a conversation with supervisors from the service, and the question was asked of the one who has clients that are in, clients probably isn't the right word, but clients in Arizona, if they ever had to go down and how do they check up on them, that did happen. They had to fly down one time recently and actually brought them kids from there and put them into foster care. So that was kind of a tough thing, but just an idea of how booked they are and what they're doing. The Heritage Center, they're talking, they've gotten some really generous donations from the local community, and it sounds like they're gonna rent, I don't know how much of a Gleason building, or Gleason building, but a fair bit of it for an art gallery. And that's coming up soon too. There's been a lot of stuff going on.
Commissioner Wilhelmie.
I do not have anything.
Commissioner Gaspar?
Fair Board, since the last meeting, has got a, I don't have numbers in front of me either, I apologize, I think it's $100,000 grant from Garrison Diversion for the event center. It's a 70-30 match. And Beth just actually texted me, and one of the farmers unions entities gave $15,000 in the meeting. That's really it. The only other thing I have is whoever wrote the letter to the commissioner, or to the commission and signed it, concerned citizen. I think that's bullshit. If you wanna call me out, put your name on it. That's why I didn't respond to the letter, while we were talking about the budget. I made mistakes with the budget, I'll totally agree with that, but I won't next year. That's what I'll leave that.
Well, I appreciate that opinion from the anonymous person, but you're absolutely right that it's, and that's why it wasn't addressed on the agenda, is that it's anonymous. It's something that we really shouldn't even have to take into consideration. And you wanna complain about something, put your name to it, and bring that to our attention. Anonymous means absolutely nothing in the eyes of the court and the eyes of the chairman, so.
Yeah, just as a side note, as a township officer, we went through an anonymous letter, had to do with, basically the junkyard along Highway 2 at Penn there. It was sent to the district highway engineer at the time, and he took it on, and we said, hey, can you help me find this person? Because there's federal law that we can tap into and get money to fix it. Nobody had the guts to come out and say they that was their opinion, and hence we still have junk around the side of the road for them, and that's where basically my opinion comes from, so.
Well, and various boards along the way, I've had those type of letters, and attorneys tell me that they're not worth the paper that they're written on. So like I said, I appreciate the person's opinion, everybody has one. But, let us know, sign your name. Yeah. So with that, let's see, there's all kinds of different things going on. Our water awards are coming up in December. The Devils Lake Joint Board has our Water Stewardship Award that will be given out December 7th to a deserving individual, group, or project within the Devils Lake Basin. If you have any people or groups or projects that you'd like to nominate, please let me know. I can help you fill out that form. Other water wheel awards or water awards that will be given out is the North Dakota Association of Water Users Association gives out a water wheel award to deserving individuals. And then the state of North Dakota gives out Commodore Awards, which is the highest in the water world award deal. That's also given out the same time at our award banquet in December. The LEC, we had a DOCR was in for their annual inspection in September. And they had, I think, was it 16 issues out of 108 standards. 2 of them were in that critical area, but not enough to warrant any reprimands or closures or reduction in personnel. Inmates that we housed, so I guess overall that was good. They did see good progress over the last year that they've been monitoring us. The staff over there continues to have daily meetings over there and include the DOCR and all their agenda items for those meetings, as well as their meeting minutes. And at our last board meeting, we did get a slideshow presentation on the inspection or the tour of another facility in Indiana that some of the LEC board members and staff were able to attend. And at that particular time, the LEC board made a motion to go ahead with a feasibility study on a feasibility of our existing facility as well as the city, communities, regions' needs for the next 30 years for housing inmates. You know, you hate to even bring it up, but it's something that's going to be needed, is a new facility for the incarceration of inmates within our community. Building's 50 years old, and the dog years, it's 150 years old. And so it doesn't meet a lot of the requirements, and it has different areas that create safety concerns for staff as well as inmates. And the newer facility can be operated more efficiently with the same number of staff with triple the amount of inmates. So we are able to house additional prisoners with the same amount of staff, and which in turn you can contract out inmates with other jurisdictions and lower the overall local operating costs and expenses. So we'll see where that firm comes back with their study and move forward from there. But it's something that we want to get, if we want to get something in place for the legislative session for 2025, we need to start now with some of those ideas and concepts, and so that's where that's going. Airport is moving forward with their expansion on their terminal, and things are right on schedule. I think TSA was moving back into some of their enhanced facilities over there, so they're be moving back here shortly into the newer facilities, and hopefully the terminal stays on schedule and up and operational for next spring. I think it's April, maybe sometime. But they did set another monthly record for the number of boardings in August or September. No, August it was. But we've been setting records all along, even throughout the construction process. So people are traveling, people are using the airport, and it's been a good thing, and keep moving towards that objective. Chamber of Commerce, 97th Annual Celebration of Business and Community Event next Wednesday, October 11th at the Elks Lodge. Social begins at 4:30, program at 5:30. We are invited because we are chamber members, and social is heavy appetizers, and 5:30 is the awards program and chamber update. I think with that, that's all I have. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you, Marlon. What's that? Is that public information? Is there a copy from her?
Well, I need to read it, I just.
Oh, yeah, it was all.
I mean, you compare us, I see a James on the other shop line or something.
Not even.
So I'm just, I went to training, they're talking, we started 5,000.
It's hard for me to stomach that. But I know darn well.
We're keeping up with what bad, yeah.
They didn't take the chances.
That's what I was directing.
Yeah, the service, we lost, see what you know, who's going to transition the CAD.
Oh, they're on.
We lost them, but
We're all going to take that.
And then we're gonna let because it was thick, it was all like, paper, so.
They said they couldn't pull them all, so they were.
I do.
They needed ink in their paper, didn't they?